Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Pelletier. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby opens the regular meeting of Council at 6 p.m. on May 20, 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. All of Council is present. Councillor Lachance is joining us via Teams. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robertson Huron Treaty Territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Atikameksheng Anishinaabe. We also wish to recognize our neighboring community of Doki's First Nation. While we meet today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous people and their culture. Can I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Councillor Loftus, Councillor Lachance.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Lachance. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of Council held May 20, 2026 be adopted as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Councillor
None, Your
Laframboise.
Worship.
Councillor Loftus.
None, Your Worship.
Councillor Pelletier.
None, Your Worship.
Councillor Lachance.
None, Your Worship.
And none for myself. Now we're at the point where there are questions from the public. Anybody wanting to ask questions from the public? No? Okay. Any announcements by council? No? Okay, thank you very much. Our first item on the agenda, 3.1, is a presentation by Angela Poitras. You can start your presentation. Is the light on? Yep.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Councillor Lachance?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, Mayor Blackagnan, members of council, staff, and fellow ratepayers. Before I begin my delegation this evening, I'd like to thank and acknowledge two councillors, Councillor Laframboise and Pelletier, for the motions they have tabled this evening. Both support what I'm speaking to this evening, which is how can council strengthen its budgeting process to ensure transparent, evidence-based financial decisions.
Excuse me, just one.
Yes.
Just so that you're aware, the delegation time is about 10 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just like last time, I'm a Toastmaster. I'll be under 9 minutes. My delegation this evening concerns the municipality's budgeting framework and financial accountability processes. It dates back to the document April 15th presented to council, which was an 8-page document signed by 19 people, and I will leave you with a handout this afternoon. Excuse me. The first item, budget forecasting. Does the town of St. Charles have a multi-year financial forecasting? How are future or operating pressures projected? And what assumptions are being used on these projects? So as an example would be, where is the formal budget with forecast for the Sawmill Park? We're aware in 2025 there was new blasting costs, and just recently at the last meeting we were aware that there's new insurance costs. We'd also like to use as an example the budget and the forecast for the area surrounding the community center. Policies and procedures around our budgeting forecast. What formal financial policies guide the decision-making of staff and council? Are there written procedures for budget review, amendments, and reserve use? Example, is council and staff following policies and procedures around renting facilities to not-for-profit organizations similarly? Or are there times when people pay or they don't pay? And we just became aware of the last meeting that we did not have a system to collect unpaid rental fees, and I assume that that was taken care of through emotion. So again, that goes back to policy and procedures around finances. The last item is program value evaluation. How do we assess whether programs and services justify their cost? Are there usage metrics, outcomes, and cost-benefit reviews being conducted, much like the report that the library gave us about a month ago? So how will council and staff evaluate the success of Sawmill Creek, a meals program, pickleball court, transportation program, and others? In closing, I respectfully request that council consider the following: developing formalized budget policies and procedures that are adhered to, providing multi-year budget forecasting to the public, implementing regular program costs versus usage reviews, reporting these evaluations transparently during budget deliberations and throughout the year, and including the strategic plan as a tool when developing budgets. My concern is not individual line items, but what it reveals about the municipality's budgeting framework. I want to thank each and every one of you for giving me time on your agenda, and hopefully you've accepted my comments not as an adversarial person, but as somebody who wants to complement your budget process. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. I know you put in quite a bit of work in preparing these questions for us. Council and staff are going to be looking at reviewing and determining what sort of information can be provided using the normal municipal procedures. However, I will be providing you emails for any of the associated, such as DSAB, Ministry of, the Health Unit, and some of these other items. So,
Thank you very much for that.
okay. Any comments or questions from council?
Just to thank you for taking the time and coming out and presenting. Like you said, we did receive a letter prior. Just want to let you know that there is a motion for past and present and future for transparency. So hopefully it
Thank
will
you.
answer some of your questions.
Thank you very much.
Council Loftus?
No, thank you for the presentation. There was a lot of items in your letter that you sent to council that some of the things I wasn't aware of, and so going forward, you've made me more aware of policies and procedures and bylaws. So thank you for that. And
Welcome.
if you're leaving us a copy of that, I would really appreciate a copy of that.
Thank you. Councilor Petsy.
Thank you for coming to present. There's a lot of information to go over in this, and there's a lot of information that should be fairly readily available, I think, to constituents. So that's why there was other motions put forth. I think the one that I put forth is one that I think should have been is one that should be readily available in this day and age, because we're a very digital world, and it's information should be as readily available as possible. So it helps keep everybody in the know. So.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Deschamps, any comments?
I'd like to thank you also for your time, a lot of effort that went into your email and your letter. I think Council President, what you proposed and how we brought up before was to kind of have an online available drop sheet to show the public what our projects are coming up, and because not everyone can attend every meeting and keep up with what we kind of do. So there's a lot of stuff that could seem overwhelming, or like, oh, where did this come from, or what did that happen? But there are a lot of things behind the scenes that happen, or actually not behind the scenes, but in public meetings. But I know it's not easy to follow up with that, but I'm more than happy to help if you have any other questions. I'm available by email too, and do what we can.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
So in closing, I would like to comment, it wasn't just me who did all this work.
Yeah.
Many of the people behind me, you have a lot of people behind the scenes anywhere you go. And so I just want to acknowledge the people that were behind the scenes. I may be the one sitting in front of you, but I wasn't the one who did all the work by myself. So there was a lot of people involved, because we're all concerned and we want St. Charles to be the best place we can live, work, and play. So through you, your worship, if I may, hand out the handout?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. and I think there's enough for everyone.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one bring those two. All right, moving on. Item 411, report council, award of tender for supply and delivery of tandem snowplow, prepared by Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. So back in March of 2026, staff presented to council a request for authorization to tender for our tandem snowplow. It was due for replacement under our asset replacement plan this year. I asked for authorization as budget had not yet been passed, and for timelines and the life expectancy of our truck, we're looking to move that forward. So we did tender the truck. We posted on April 17th, closed on May 5th, and we received 2 tender submissions. Both met requirements, but the recommended award would be to Freightliner North Bay. They did have some more recommendations on top of their base price. That was for warranty and crown rust proofing, just to ensure the longevity of the truck. So in total, we're asking for an amount of $426,334.75, plus the licensing and applicable taxes.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Framboise,
Yes,
you
for
can-
myself, I'm in agreement.
All right, thank you. Councillor Loftus?
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and I'm glad that we came 23,000 under budget for that, which is nice.
Okay. Councillor Battier, you good?
Yeah, I just had a question. The old truck that it's going to be replacing, is it going to be getting replaced, or are we expecting to be able to continue usage of the old truck for a year, or just outright its maintenance costs are too high?
The maintenance costs are very high. Actually, it's getting its annual inspection right now, and it's been there for 2 weeks with a significant amount of money that needs to be put into it. So I would think that we would just sell it once we get the new truck and take whatever we
Okay.
can get from it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Deschamps, any questions?
Just on the payment for this, is it all coming from reserve, or is it something we're going to be doing a debenture for? That's for the treasurer, I guess.
As per budget, it's
For the
gonna be a
amps.
debenture. It's gonna be a loan.
What's that, sir?
It's going to be a loan.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. So therefore, can I have a mover and a seconder for the resolution? Councillor Loftus, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Putzier, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby awards tender 2026-04, the purchase of 1 tandem snowplow to Freightliner North Bay in the amount of $426,334.75, plus licensing and applicable HST.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Next item, 4.1.2, report to council, installation of C-cans and steel roofing, prepared by Michelle again.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the report in front of council tonight is to ask for funds to be approved for helical piles. This is to do the site preparation, or for the installation of the C-cans and the roofing system that was approved last year in late fall. So after the award was given, it had come to light that another municipality had installed the same system, and they had issues after with the C-cans twisting. So for site preparation and to ensure that this doesn't happen to us, we went and got a quote for helical piles, 8 for each can. This was put into our draft budget, but to move the project forward, I'm looking for the authorization to proceed.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions or comments, Councillor
No, I'm
Framboise?
glad that you were able to get those findings, but I'm in agreement also for the recommendation.
All right, Councillor Loftus?
I'm also in agreement with the recommendation.
Okay, Councillor Potier?
Just my only question was, where was it going again? Was it going on across the lot, like across the
It's
garage?
going to be located on the Public Works property.
Yeah, sorry, the existing?
Existing.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Councillor Deschamps?
Yeah, my only question is, for the work of installing the 16 helical piles, was there more than one price that was sought after, or is it just the contractor that is doing the install of the roof that's getting to the vendor for this?
It's the vendor that we awarded the tender to. He sought a local contractor to get the cost.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Councillor Deschamps?
No, it doesn't seem like it's out of the normal pricing for the installation. I was just curious what approach was taken, if it was us that looked for the pricing or if it came from the vendor for the installation.
All right, thank you very much. Can I therefore have a mover and a seconder for the resolution for the helical piles? Councillor Potier and Councillor Loftus.
Moved by Councillor Potier and seconded by Councillor Loftus, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles approves purchase of 16 helical piles for the installation of the C-cans and steel roofing system at the Public Works in the amount of $11,440.
All those in favor? Carried. Next, item 421, report to council regarding Connect 55 utilities, prepared by Pamela. Go ahead, Pamela.
Okay, so at the last council meeting, it was brought up by a resident about the associated cost for running this program, and council had requested that staff bring some amounts to council. So there are three options. One is to include these costs, and these again are just estimates based on the information that I have. Include it in their yearly P&L and have it deducted from their running total. Is it just an information only when I do their annual, or is it immaterial and we don't need to discuss it going further? And since it's a municipal run program, it's part of it. So the hydro, so I took the daily usage from March 10th to May 7th. We did have one major rental in that period, so I took that out because obviously that would skew the numbers. And I took the days that the Connect 55 program was in there compared to just normal usage of the facilities being run. And you could see that it costs about $5.78 extra in hydro. You can see that spike. So they usually prep on one day and deliver on one, so it's about 2 days per meal, and they run, I think, 21 meals on average per year. They take the summer off. So 21 meals times 2 days times the 578 is $242.76 in hydro. Again, that's based on 2026 numbers. If hydro goes up in the future, it'll be more. In 2025, hydro was less, so it was a little bit less, but just to give you an idea. Propane is a little bit trickier. In April of 2022, the heating and cooling system was switched from electrical to propane. And we don't have a daily usage. It gets filled up by the tank whenever on a monthly basis. However, I did look at a new Garland BTU range hood like we have, a 70-inch 10 open burner, and the average consumption rate based on what they say on the internet. So they're saying it cost about $182.78 for the year based on an 8-hour usage for the two days that they do it times the 21 meals. And the labor, as you can see, I broke it down in a couple different ways. The labor includes snow removal, building maintenance, and janitorial maintenance. So In 2020, the average for 2024 and 2025 was 185.75 hours per year. In 2025, we had 22 rentals, and as I stated above, there's 21 meals, so about 50% of the cost would be to other rentals, so we could reduce that by 50%, so that leaves us an average of 92 hours. Again, of these 92 hours, not all of them are a direct result of the meal program. We plow the parking lot regardless if anybody's in there or not. We do probably do salt more if there is a rental compared to not a rental. So kind of going through that explanation and talking to the director of operations, the meal program does clean up after themselves. The only time we do go in after, if they don't make a substantial mess, is right before another rental. So even though the meals program cleans, if we have a rental coming up, we will go in and make sure it's clean again. So kind of reducing that. Based on my assumptions here, again, if the assumptions aren't correct, because it's kind of hard to decipher what is regular maintenance and what is due to the Connect 55. At the average cost of $34.16, the yearly cost for labor would be $819.84. So those are your three major costs that council had asked staff to look at. So just wondering direction on how you want this reported for future, or to go back in the past also.
All right. Any comments?
For myself, I'd like to see option 2, so costs associated to utilities, hydro and propane and labor for cleaning are to be disclosed to council separately I think it's more for transparency
Okay.
and information purpose.
All right, thank you. Councillor Loftus.
Yeah, I believe option 2 also.
Information.
Information.
All right, thank you very much. Councillor Putzi.
I'm also in favor of option 2. I think at the end of the day, it's that can be chalked up as a municipal contribution for a municipally run program. For the most part, it's pretty self-sustainable. So I think that's inherent cost that comes with running a municipal program such as this. So.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Lachance?
I'm also in favor of option 2.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead with the second option. Next item, 422, report to council draft budget 2026, prepared by Pamela.
Okay, so I can't put the presentation on the screen right now, so hopefully you can follow in your agenda. So here are the changes that we discussed at the previous meetings. So we reduced our students from 5 to 3. That's what we were awarded, so we went with the 3. So we're losing $4,956 in grants. However, we're saving $12,699 in wages. We added $2,200 for the boat launch insurance. Service Ontario is reduced and brought it to a revenue neutral point. We reduced the community leaders event by $1,500. We reduced the brand logo to $5,000. Originally it was at $10,000. We reduced it to $5,000. We removed the Lake Road guide beams of $35,000. We added $2,100 to aviation insurance for the helipad that we discussed at a previous council meeting. We received, after the original draft budget, we received notification that we were successful in a $1,500 grant for the Canadian Identity and Culture. So this was to help with our new Parks and Rec program. So it's to buy sporting equipment or help with the recreation program. So you'll see that as an in and out. You'll see it as income, but then we'll have an associated line item for it now. And then the reduced septage plan, we reduced the septage plan. Originally that was that $150,000, 75 for septage and 75,000 for future growth. Reduced it by $80,000 to bring it down to $70,000. The director of operation is going to follow up with a report exactly what that entails. The library contribution was reduced by $6,141. That was discussed at the last council meeting. So if you look at the little chart, I'm not sure, it's page 3 of the, or page 4 of the presentation. It has the whole chart saying this is what our original is, all the ins and outs of everything that I've discussed. So it went from 3 million, this is again taxation revenue only, not their actual budget. Taxation revenue of $3,408,451.13, down to $3,264,357.83. So that is a reduction of $144,093.30, and this would be your new taxation rates. So again, the difference in taxation would be 3.962. That's your tax rate over your tax rate. So some of the questions that council had at the last council, or at the draft budget, was the backhoe and what we use it for. Because we were planning on purchasing a new backhoe, and council had asked, do we really need to purchase it this year? Is it something that we actually use? So talking to the Director of Operations, this piece of equipment is utilized year-round and plays a critical role in operations. This spring alone, it has already been used more than 20 times to clear snow from ditches and allow for proper water flow. During winter, it is used to load trucks with sand when the loader is deployed, and is used to clear frozen culverts, offering a more efficient option than transporting the excavator. In the spring, it is essential for street sweeping, as it's currently the only piece of equipment with capability to attach the sweeper attachment, as well as the forks for loading and unloading material. In the summer, it's used with forks to move culverts and to load and offload material on job sites, as well as small culvert replacements within town, where using the excavator would risk damaging existing surface treatments. So that was kind of a justification of the need for the backhoe. I hope that answers council's questions that they had on that. One of the other questions they had was what's left to do on Lake Road. There are approximately 7 culverts still remaining to be replaced on Lake Road. The Public Works tentative work schedule has been updated. Originally, we had Sawmill Bay boat launch in week 1 or 2. We can't work there until after July 15th, so you'll see that it's moved to week 3 of July. That's the only change that was made in that schedule that was originally presented. The laser precision level, there was question as to what exact level are we looking at, because a quick Google search was about 1,500 and we were asking for 6. So I just have a picture of kind of the idea of the level that we're looking at. So it's a more durable, and it's meant for rough abuse. In the past 2 years, we have gone through 2 of the cheaper levels. So this is more meant for construction, meant for the rough side of the road to be used and abused, for lack of a better term. They're more accurate, and they will create efficiency because you don't necessarily need 2 staff members using it or help implement it. So we'll hopefully save in labor costs also. So that's the laser that the Director of Operations is looking at. Again, it's not that exact one, but just to kind of give you an idea of what she's looking at. The Sawmill Bay Park question was asked about how much we've spent and how much for granting we received. So a report was actually given to council on May 5th. So again, this is just a summary from that report. The next page is your tax rate impact. Again, this is just your average based on your different classifications. So you can see what compared to the one that was in the previous one. And then impact on, excuse me, the impact on operations. So the budget dollar increase was $127,784.03, which is 4.07 increase from 2025. So again, the difference between why the tax rate is 3.962 and the dollar is 4.07, because if we were to do a $0 budget because of new builds and stuff like that, we still get that revenue. So that's why those numbers don't match, okay? So this is just the dollar increase. If you were to take what we got for taxes for this, it's a 4.07% increase. So just some information. Of that $127,785, $53,322 our increase from our reserve contribution, the 1.7% that we increase year over year for the next 10 years to make sure that we get up to that number that we need. $47,861 is increased to board fees. So that is something that is beyond our control. This is DSAB, OPP, the Health Unit, MPAC, Sudbury East Planning Board. $72,000 is an increase due to the road project interest for funding strategy. So at the last budget meeting, we had taken money from reserve to help lower our contribution, but there's still going to be a $72,000 increase year over year. That increase of just those three items is $173,183. And then as you can see, we only went up $127,000, so that is actually a decrease when you take those three factors out of $45,398. So I think that addresses all of council's questions that they had at the last budget. We were able to bring down the budget, the rate to hopefully a reasonable number for council to approve. So if there's any questions or anything that I didn't interpret properly.
Any further questions or something you
I
need
just
to
wanted to
clarify?
add, so clarification, Lake Road, I did meet with the Director of Operation, and just so everyone is aware, she did say they were at phase 2, so it would be culverts and ditching, and she did tell me it would be the first week of July and the second week of July. If you look at the tentative schedule.
Road preparation, resurfacing.
It says culverts.
Hold on, week 4 and the first week of August for Teddy Road would be the first one, and then Lake Road would be the two other ones. And something else. Oh, so after we met with the first budget meeting, we did receive a resignation of a position. I'm just wondering, being that obviously that position was in the budget, it was a resignation position, and it hasn't been replaced. I'm just wondering if we can look at, because we are budgeting for a new position.
The building inspector?
Yes, yeah.
The position
So
of
I'm just
building
wondering if we
inspector?
can look at the numbers again, because that would make a big difference too, for budget-wise.
So through you, the building inspector is through the SEBS agreement, so it's all billed through French River. So
We still budget for that, don't we?
no, because it's through SEBS. So we would, originally what would happen is we incurred the cost and we billed 100% to French River, and then French River would then bill us our portion back. They have hired, or they are training a building inspector there, so that cost is kind of replaced.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that position.
As far as I know, that is what is happening.
May think that.
I would just add, the position is not being replaced. As I mentioned previously, I don't know if, just to clarify, the CDO is working on a proposal to, because we are receiving additional workload as for septic system approval coming November. Their intent this year is not to replace that position, but there's additional training involved, and there's a presentation coming to council. So that is one of the reasons. So obviously the inspector was $1 in, $1 out and $1 in, so it was a wash in our budget. And then the SEBS budget, the CBO is working on a presentation to council. Right now is not to replace the position this year. So she is going to present the update. And I'm not aware of the details of the update. I know there's a draft copy of the presentation, but at this point I don't have details.
Okay.
But as far as I know, there's no replacement.
All right.
And do you have an idea when the new position will be posted? Because we did budget for 9 months, but now we're like at 6 months.
For Service Ontario?
No, the other position,
fourth
half and
person.
half, they're the Public Works and
So it would be,
Yes, go ahead.
to you, we just have to make sure that there's a proper job description, which would be from policy adopted by council, and we will post right afterwards.
Okay, it's just that we did budget for 9 months and we're at 6 months already
So
now.
they'll be
So
slicing.
is it 3 months that we can, you know, play with the budget a little bit? Because are we looking at 6 months or are we looking at 5 months by the time it's posted?
That's,
Just wondering if that would make a bit of a difference.
it would make a difference, it would, but it's up to council how long it would take for, because I believe it's a policy that you guys are gonna be putting through of what the job description is, of when to post.
So essentially, if we,
Like we're at the end of May, so it's gonna take two weeks to post, 2 weeks for interviews, or you're looking at the end of June to hire this person, so you're looking at July.
Yeah, and.
So July, August, September, October, November, December, like, just wondering if we can adjust a little bit.
It will delay the approval though.
Yep.
That's the only drawback.
Yeah.
The approval will not be tonight, and it will, I'm sorry.
yeah, it'll delay some more.
I'm not the only one here, so everyone else can.
Yeah, okay.
have a-
Councillor Loftus. Any,
For-
for the presentation on the
No,
budget?
I'm good. I'm really glad that we were managed to crunch the numbers and get it down to 4.07.
Would you be willing to accept the budget at 4.07 or looking to reduce it by, how many months we're talking about?
Right now, we're at 3 months. It
3
would
months.
Probably be 4.
It would be 14 weeks if I did 3 months.
Yeah,
Because I mean, 4.07 is not horrible compared to what we were looking at.
yeah,
And
that's,
I mean, going forward, if that's money that we don't use this year, you know, it could be applied to like next year, so.
unused funds go to the reserve, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Councillor Putzi.
Yeah, my only question was gonna be about the aviation insurance, but you already cleared that up. I was wondering where our airstrip was, so that's good. And then I think the proposed budget that we have now in front of us is a drastic improvement over what we initially had, and it's nice that you're able to bring it down, because I think we were looking at 7% or almost 8% at the beginning. So this I think is acceptable, and I mean the posting, we're trying to get it out as soon as we can. So I think I'm okay leaving it as is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Deschamps?
Yeah, the only question I have is to do with SEBS actually, and we were discussing a little bit about that position. I was wondering if why we're still giving that budgeted amount if there's no position filled or no plan for it. Should we not be pulling that amount back until they need it? Like, I'd like to see the presentation from SEBS to see what they want the money for before we just give it to them, in my opinion.
Any,
I would say that's fair.
yeah. But would you be ready to accept, like, looking at the budget, that's another issue that we can deal with?
I'm willing to allocate that money in the budget for it, but I'm not willing to give that money to SEBS, if that makes it clear. I'm okay with accepting it if the money stays with us, and at a later date, if we discuss with SEBS for their budget, we can approve it then, but I need to know where those funds are going before we send it to SEBS, so.
All right, anything to add, Pamela?
Yeah, just to clarify, SEBS, but we don't just give them a blank amount. It is like an actual, so if they go under budget, they send us an invoice for actuals. So if they do not replace that person, we'll have it allocated, but they won't be paid the full amount. So it's not like I'm giving them 90,000 or whatever it is, and they just use it and they get to keep the rest. If it comes in at 80, they bill us for 80. So in the past, what we've done is we've put it into reserve so that when they replace their vehicles, they're not, spiking it just like we do.
Yeah, but are they putting in their reserve or is it falling back to our reserve?
It's going into a SEBS reserves that is based on the 4 municipalities. Interest that is earned on that goes to that too, and then any vehicles that are purchased go into that, and vehicles that are sold, if SEBS were ever to disperse, comes back to each
You're talking
municipality.
about strictly
But where we're
vehicles.
getting with another board right now, we have the same thing where this board is generated, that they have reserves in the amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's nice for the board to have reserves, but at the same time, it'd be cost saving to the ratepayers at the same, so I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with that.
Just,
So I'd like to, I can allocate for it, but the decision will be made after we speak with SEBS, I guess.
Alright. So just to make sure I also understand it correctly, what you were talking about the reserves was a budgeted amount for the replacement of vehicles.
Correct.
It's not for the full budget that they absorb the full budget and put it into their reserve. Like for that position you stated at one point, if they don't use the full, we'll say that, we're only billed for what the actual expenses are.
Correct, the SEBS reserve is a defined reserve specifically targeted for vehicles
Yeah.
and vehicle replacement. If there's a surplus at the year end, it will not automatically transfer there. It is, it's not like we'll just pile the money and have no intent
Yeah.
of use. Council can have full understanding of their budget, and the presentation was to show the restructuring going forward and the amended budget. And unfortunately, that is going to be post this presentation, and I duly support it. That council should be
Yep.
aware of the restructuring before our full commitment, but like the treasurer did say, it is billed on actuals, so we just gotta make sure if there's increased costs on their end, because now they're not dispersing for a building official, there's potentially some surplus or potentially overtime. And again, I don't wanna step ahead of the presentation of
Okay.
the CBO. So I would recommend the council, yes, definitely, a presentation from the CBO is due, and understanding, if there's a savings, where's the money going? If it's not being used, obviously, it should stay with the municipality.
Yep.
Unless there's a shortfall in the funding for the replacement of vehicles.
All right, thank you very much. So, any last questions, Councilor Deschamps?
That's it for myself, thanks.
All right, so I think I'll see if I can have a mover and a seconder for the resolution to accept the budget. Councilor Potier, Councilor Deschamps?
Moved by Councillor Potier and seconded by Councillor Lachance, whereas a balanced budget for 2026 was presented to council at the regular meeting of council on May 20, 2026, with total revenue and expenditures of $12,590,631.73. Excuse me. Be it resolved that council for the corporation of the municipality of St. Charles hereby approves the 2026 budget.
All those in favor? Okay, carried. Next item, 431, report to council, update on HR support renegotiation, prepared by Denis.
Yes, your worship. As council requested, or discussed, retaining the assistance of an HR professional to draft employment agreements. I'm advised that she will have draft copies available later this week, so I'm assuming either, well, if not today, obviously at the end of the day, so by tomorrow or Friday. And obviously, this is gonna be a discussion at council, so there's different ways to discuss. I know council had created an ad hoc committee. We can discuss at a special meeting of council, or you can just do the regular committee of the whole. And this may be potentially a lengthy discussion, so I had asked the mayor maybe to pull the ad hoc committee if they would recommend going back to that ad hoc committee. I would definitely encourage full discussion.
Whoops.
Okay, let's unplug this. Sorry, we lost. Okay, sorry, we just we just lost Councillor. So again, it's just for council to have a proper time to review it. So if you want to set up a HADA committee or just receive it as a committee of the whole and we call a special meeting to deal with the matter, rather than putting it at a closed session towards the end of a regular meeting, which ends 9:30, it may be not proper. So meeting at 6 on an off meeting night. So it's up to council. My recommendation is you should have a special meeting separate. And whether you want the ad hoc committee to maybe review and ask questions of the HR specialist before going to committee.
Just so that everybody's aware, it's gonna be billed on an hourly basis. So if the ad hoc committee meets first, that's gonna be billed separately. And, but in the long and short of it is, if we have an ad hoc committee that can maybe help refine the information or the parameters, it might go faster, but it's an hourly basis. So, and I agree, just going with option one, dealing it at a regular meeting, I don't think that would be the best option. Councillor Laframboise, which one do you think would be preferable?
For myself, I was part of the committee, so I like the option 2, but if you guys want to discuss it as a whole, option 3 is fine with myself also.
All right. Councillor Loftus.
Option 3, the special meeting of council to deal with the matter is my preference.
Okay. Councillor Potier.
Yeah, I'm looking at the options here. 2 is reconvene our ad hoc committee that I was also a part of.
It could be the same ad hoc committee. We could select new
Or-
members because the previous one has
Yeah,
ended.
met its mandate, yeah. 1 and 3 are essentially the same, except 3 we're saying
Special meeting.
a special meeting. But at the end of the day, it amounts to the same thing. What, are we gonna have a special meeting a week before the June 3rd meeting? Because at the special meeting, it'll still be council present. It won't be, yeah.
And then we have to discuss how exactly the procedure is gonna take place. Is it gonna be with staff? I think there's options to have just a meeting with the HR rep and council, but I don't know for the note taking how that.
We can clarify, there's a requirement for assigning a clerk.
Okay.
So we can clarify with whatever committee, because I know you may want to have a position, and so the clerk can follow up with council on options that can be selected.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I'm in favor of option 1. I'm not quite sure, so
Option 1 is in a regular meeting at the end of the meeting at 9:30 or whatever, when we finish. Because the other one, it's at a regular meeting of the whole.
yeah, so we either, and then to step away from that, the draft documents are gonna be available this week or next week? I know it's a little bit play on words, because
Unfortunately, I spoke to her last week, and she said she had a draft. She had was working on HR policy, looking it over, and she told me midweek. We are midweek. I didn't receive anything. I didn't follow up, but I will definitely. Obviously, we're setting times in meeting, and she said she would have it by end of week, mid to end of week. So, once I have them, I can flip them all to council, and then the discussion could have on is it meeting your the concerns that council had raised.
Yeah. Yes, Councillor
Sorry.
Laframboise.
Was all the information shared that we shared with you guys from the committee to the HR consultant?
I think so. Huh?
Yeah, I shared job description, employment of offer, and Gowling's report on
Okay,
each
yes.
individual.
Yeah.
And then I made it specific to her that council was interested in correcting the identified issues.
Okay. Anything to add, Councillor Potier?
No, yeah, I understand if we're trying to have the HR specialist here, option 3 is definitely probably the better option to go with. Otherwise, they could be here, as mentioned, till
Okay.
9:30. Yeah.
And yourself, Councillor Lachance?
If the previous ad hoc committees members are all okay with continuing that, I'm okay with that also. If we think it'd be cost savings to the municipality, I would, however, though, like to be involved in the correspondence that's going back and forth with the consultant. I think that it'd be good for us to all see kind of what discussions are being had with regards to the money we're spending on this, so.
What I see as the advantage for the ad hoc is that maybe help refine how the procedures are. I'm not saying have a long ad hoc meeting where we're trying to resolve all of the issues. Just the ad hoc, I would see the mandate to be, okay, how is it what's gonna be step 1, 2, 3, as opposed to having everybody here at the same time, trying to determine what the steps should be. Should we be dealing with all 4 positions at once? Should we be dealing with one position as the initial? That's where I think an ad hoc might be useful. A short ad hoc meeting, afterwards coming in as a special meeting.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you're ready for the ad hoc if are you recommending that we use the same 2 members of council?
I think that for we still don't know all of the information that they went through with the first part of it, with the legal side. So I think that transfer of knowledge from one committee to the next would be beneficial to council, as opposed to having a new committee struck and we might not know all the procedure. We can go back and probably get access to documentation and read all the reports, but we weren't involved with the legwork there, so I think it'd be beneficial if those members would accept the position again, in my opinion.
Okay. Would you be?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah? All right. So,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah?
What did we budget for this? Like, how much to look into this, first of all?
It was,
It was
I
like,
can't remember.
was it 10,000?
No.
For this year, it was 5,000.
And how much have we spent so far this year?
I've only paid a deposit, a 50% deposit, so I don't know the actuals that has been spent so far.
They didn't send a bill?
Just a 50% deposit, based on their estimate. What the actuals are, hasn't been received yet.
We haven't used them yet, I
I'm just wondering,
don't
by
think.
sitting down and sitting with them and then having.
I'm just
them-
saying, just the ad hoc would be very short meeting, just to try and determine, and maybe the ad hoc committee can meet ahead of time just to try and brainstorm how they would see the procedure taking place, and then share this information with the HR specialist before coming into a meeting. That way, I think she would be coming into the meeting more prepared. That's my intent,
Okay.
I hope.
All right.
Yes?
Prior for us meeting, I would like to see, like Councillor Lachance said, to give us the information that was shared to the HR.
I could forward the emails, that would be
and
the
then
best
we
way.
can
Yeah.
Send us
Discuss
all the
it and then-
information.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So, anything else to add, Councilor?
Do we need to, was the ad hoc committee
Was there a
officially, well, was it disbanded? I don't think it was
Well,
officially.
Dismissed, yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it dismissed?
I think so, because we
I don't
had
think-
finished the mandate. It was for,
It had language that it would cease to, once the legal review and council, and unfortunately, there's no copy here, but it would be to reactivate the committee to further investigate the legal findings. With the same terms of reference, unfortunately, at this point.
So we'll need to pass a resolution for that, right? That was through a resolution that we formed the committee? Yeah,
I
can,
believe so.
yeah, can we, I don't know if we can pass that tonight?
I'll have to
Um,
see if I can find.
Just, yeah, just
if we
thinking-
want to
Yeah.
accelerate the process.
Yeah, click around everywhere on.
Do we remember when we did that?
August? I have, actually, I should have the resolution actually right here. Documents. Resolution 2025-180.
Do you have the date on
June 18th, is this? Yeah, June 18th, 2025. In my folder.
Sorry, I'm just. Okay, I'll read this and then we can do a mover and a seconder. So be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles agrees to create an ad hoc committee under the name of Council Committee on Human Resources HR Consultant. And be it further resolved that council approves an upset limit of $5,000 for the purpose of retaining a human resources specialist to review and prepare employment agreements and policies. And be it further resolved that the following members be appointed to the ad hoc committee, Julie Laframboise and Mathieu Potier.
Okay.
Does that sound
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
fine? Okay.
Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Lachance, Councillor Loftus? All those in favor? Carry. You done? Got it?
I'm done.
You're
You
good.
done?
Item 432, report to council local improvement petition for road awarding of a tender. Denis Turcot.
Yes, Your Worship. This report is to set out how the process is going to happen within the next 30 days. So a petition has been circulated. I received sufficient signatures. Unfortunately, one did sign a copy that said draft on it, so I'm waiting for the official signature on the copy that's not draft. That's the unfortunate part. He just didn't remove the draft. So, but we have sufficient signatures to move forward. One of the reasons it's not included, but it does not need to come to council. The process will be the clerk receives it, deems it complete. The clerk will then circulate a notice for 30 days. And at 30 days, if it doesn't coincide with a council meeting, I would request that we convene a special meeting. Speaking with the proponent, by mid-June would be the preferred to not miss the building season to start the road extension. It takes, it could be done as quick as 2 weeks, but they would be in construction up to 4 housing units, as I'm told. So that as soon as we get the notice, the proper signed document, 30 days from that date, if it doesn't coincide with the June meeting, we may have to call a special meeting of council to award the tender. And to avoid delays, partially why it's all here tonight, because if everyone's in agreement with the process, special meeting, we receive the tender, we award the tender. We cannot award the tender until that 30-day notice. So in this 30 days, even if everyone signs the petition, in 10 days from now, they might all say, yeah, we don't want it, we back away from it. Even though you sign for it, you can still sign against it. And if we receive sufficient signatures to stop it, it stops right there. That's why there's we'll call it a 30-day cooling off period. Because obviously it is written in law to protect the taxpayers on this process. So unfortunately, I don't have the complete petition because of this unfortunate draft watermark that was on the document, but it's irrelevant at this point to start the process. So once circulated, and I'll go through my list of things. Unfortunately, because of that 30-day notice, we should not enter any agreement until we know for sure that it's a go. At that point, I have already drafted an agreement for the main sewer trunk extension. It's been validated by our lawyers, so it's ready to be signed, but unfortunately, it's at 30 days. That's a simple agreement. The other one, exempting all lots for requirements of municipal sewers, can be passed at any time. That's the one that you have tonight to move forward. And the council, again, the tender was circulated, not the tender, the RFP, the request for tender was circulated, and then was successfully renegotiated with a lower cost with considering construction of road only. If council were to retender this, any delays, any objections from, because now their price is known, may cause delays. We do not want to, any delays, again, the construction, if it's delayed beyond June, goes into July, we may miss the construction season. Right now, the idea is to get houses built. And I know the proponent has said he is considering up to 4 units or 4 buildings. It may be more than 4 units. And I think that is it for the report. It's basically if there's any consideration, if there's any question, if and when the meeting is called, I do not want to have another delay for tendering or stuff like that. So it's up to council to review, make sure that we're moving in the right direction. And again, we still have the special meeting or the regular meeting, whatever it falls on, to do the proper approval. So you'll still go through the tender, but if we are to retender, we cannot retender 30 days from now. If we retender now, there's no guarantee that we will have lower price. So the recommendation is to move forward. We have a duly circulated tender, and it is pretty much just a process to move forward. And as discussed, this will be charged back to the lots. It is worth, the cost of construction is less than the value of the lot. So there's a sufficient guarantee where if the project were to stop, we can sell the lots to recover the cost. All the cost, the interest, will be borne by the property owners. So there's no cost to other taxpayers other than the affected lots.
Okay. Thank you very much. And so it's a matter of expediency to make sure that we don't miss the construction period, because that's the key component. Councillor
I'm in
Laflamme.
agreement with the tender that you have for roads only. And you're seeing 5.71B resolution for sewer hookup and exception, so I'm in agreement with that.
All right, Councillor Loftus.
Yes, I'm also in agreement with both.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Potier?
I'm in agreement with 1 to 3. 4, my concern is with the letter that was brought forth from McBain describing that had the sewers not been included in the original tender, that they would have been one that would have bid on it, and I feel like that would have been likewise for other contractors as well, because we only had, was it Ed Sagan Sons and one other that Deep that
And Deep, yeah.
So we could have had others that I know who is a French River Contracting. I know they've often done work in the area. I think so Ed Singh and Sons and Deep were asked to amend their tender, or
No,
The winning.
the winning tender, because obviously now Deep knows how the other one has bid, so they can, the winning tender is the one that should be negotiated with, because obviously now they know the price, and this is part of the issue, is that those costs are known, so it's now easy for somebody else to come along and say, hey, I can do this for $290.
Yeah.
And I'm exaggerating there, because obviously they would price it hopefully correctly, but that's the issue of openness and accountability, and we want to be fair, respect the tendering process. And yes, it's unfortunate, because I do believe road only would have probably been competitive. Like, I don't know if it would have been lower. I'm told this is a fair price, but I don't build roads for a living. Director of Operations has looked at it, and it's the cost of construction, unfortunately. With the price of oil going up, I will also caution that maybe even this price may not withstand oil going up.
Yeah, and the first time they were closed, sealed bids, they were opened while they were in present, but it was not known ahead of time, and that's where it becomes less competitive or fair. You know.
yeah, I don't know. I know we awarded the tender of the original proposal. It's just it really opens up, like, other contractors could and would have bid on it, not just McBain, who sent forth a letter. How much would that, like, I know we're worried about the current construction period this year. I don't know, I'm concerned about, we're impacting local contractors as well by not having retendered. I think we should have retendered earlier on probably, but with a revised scope instead of what we did, yeah.
And Councilor Deschamps, I'll come back to you.
I agree 100%. I think that wasn't exactly the best idea to, even if we went and got another price from them to make it public knowledge, probably wasn't wise. Kind of handcuffed ourselves to get reduced costs with the way it's being presented right now. So I think it's unfortunate. That seems to be what we're stuck with. What the cost difference would have been, I'm not sure. What the reduction is from the original bid, what they went down somewhere around $100,000, I believe, from the original tender.
The original tender was 667.
Yeah.
Almost $750,000, yeah.
So, no, but in the material for the back end, I'm sorry. Because we don't have to continue the elevation as high, because we don't need to follow the same grade now for drainage. So I still think that there could be savings on it, but again, kind of handcuffed, because the information is made public now, and it wouldn't be fair. Just again, I don't even know legally how we would stand if we went to retender. We might be due for penalties on that. So.
So you'd be ready to move ahead with the current bid?
Not, again.
I know, it's a bad situation.
No, I'm not in favor of moving ahead with the bid, but due to unfavorable circumstances, I don't think we have a choice to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't think the business was handled properly on it, like we should have held a couple of cards in our pocket instead of put them out on the table right away.
Yeah, but when the bids were open, I think that's where lots of the
The
cards were
bid
put.
was for a different scope, we could have retendered under a different scope, and we didn't do that, instead we went and got another price and made it public, which wasn't what we should have done.
Yeah.
And that was a concern I brought up with a meeting, 2 meetings ago, or whatever, and here we are, so.
Okay. Any comments that you wanted to add, Councillor
No, I was
Laframboise?
just wondering, because I never received any information about McBain, so was it something that was shared, or was it just?
Correspondence.
Oh, yes, sorry, I did see that in correspondence. I thought it was an email separate.
Okay. So, after this deliberation, do we have a motion?
No.
Oh, it's gonna be later. So, in favor?
Yes.
In favor?
Yes.
Okay, so we continue with the current tender.
Mine was opposed, just so you know.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next report. Update on applicable local improvements. Denis?
Oh, it should be local improvement applications. Sorry, I'm getting down.
Minutes, page 78.
Okay, so this is just letting council know that for the rear section of the subdivision, two separate applications are received for the developing the roads in the back half section. With the now passing of the resolution to allow sewer systems, we will be in a position to bring back this to council. So this was to make council aware and to receive the application. I have set up a meeting with all staff next Tuesday to review the condition that council should impose to this development, because obviously we need to look at requirements for street lighting. We need to know the type and set of roads. It's easy, we have a template for the front portion, and that's what was used for doing the petition. There's 2 road crossings. Unfortunately, the rear section may have more difficulties in terms of zoning, and council can and should impose conditions on local improvements where it sees necessary. So it's not because we want a road, we build a road. Is council can say, you want a road, we will build a road with these conditions.
Yeah.
With the meeting with all staff, we're just going to set basically similar to the construction agreement that council all went through. We're going to bring back to council a proposal for conditions for development of the rear half of the section. And I know we will have the planner also there, so we will also look at potential zoning. So this is to make council aware that if the first one goes ahead, we have development for. And I know the rear portion, he's looking to do it in phases. So we will consult with the proponent to see which phase goes first, because some phase may go ahead prior to the second and third phase. So obviously there's a lot of discussion to be had, but just letting council know that the 2 applications are received and to look for a report at the June meeting. And hopefully after that June meeting, we will be able to circulate a petition with the conditions that council may see fit.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Councillor Love?
None for
No?
myself.
All right. Thank you. Now we are at the consent agenda. Any items that any councillor would like to have withdrawn?
Actually, there was, just had a question for the 5.61, the quarter report. Council,
Okay,
for
question.
environmental services.
Can I, before we move it, quarterly reports, if council has questions, are they sent by email and then they make it to the next,
They can,
Same as
but
the
you can ask the
It's just
question.
as simple, I'm sure.
okay,
Then you could probably
You can
answer
answer
it.
Okay.
It probably doesn't need to be pulled if we're not gonna discuss it, she just has a question.
okay. So do you want to pull it just the same?
No, just I can just ask the question if it's fine. I'm just wondering why we're not picking up, providing service collection for Mark's Day and Pesky Bay Island.
So for recycling, so this is a success of the Director of Operation. When I originally applied for it, I identified with Circular Ontario that we were picking up, depositing here, and then GFL was picking up here. They said, no, it's not eligible, it's not picked up by GFL. When they re-looked at it with the Director of Operations, she managed to put up the point, it doesn't matter if it was GFL or us picking it, it is a response of the province to continue. So now GFL is picking up recycling south of Marks Day and in Nipawasi on a weekly basis rather than once a month. So we're not paying for it. Well, technically we're paying for it through the province, and when you buy items at the store and they charge you an electronic fee, but there's not municipal funds, and they're getting a much better service now. So for the recycling.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
And like,
All right. I was thinking sending an email or something. Okay, it's done.
It's done.
Anything else?
No.
No, okay. Councillor Loftus?
Nothing for myself.
Councillor Putze, you good?
No, I'd like to, apologies for not sending this out earlier, but 5.3, 30 and 5.3, 31. I don't know if we have to pull it out of the agenda and then discuss it.
Yeah,
Are they correspondence?
yeah.
It will be correspondence. 130, I'd like us to have that,
So,
yeah.
no, he can just request that, so if you want do you want in support?
So 30, not really support, but I'd like notice to
Similar
be
for
sent.
us?
I'd like to notice to be sent to the municipality. Like it's sent here, but I'd like it to be sent if it can be included in the library newsletter or something, or any tax.
Oh, the
That's a road construction.
okay, you
through-
know what,
through-
we'll pull that.
Yeah, let's do it.
5.3, 30.
And the next one was what?
31 is a letter from McBain. I'd like a letter
You want that to be
explaining.
discussed?
Yeah, I'd like.
Okay, we'll
yeah.
pull it,
Pull it.
Okay.
and then we'll discuss. Anything for yourself, Councillor Lachance?
No, the recommendations made so far are fine by me, the rest I'll take for information.
Okay. So,
Good.
you're good. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Loftus? Councillor Putze?
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Putze. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles approves the items of the consent agenda under sections 5.1 and 5.7. And be it further resolved that Council receives the items of the consent agenda under sections 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6, except the following. Items 5.3.30 and 5.3.31, which council directs be pulled for discussion.
All those in favor? Carried. Okay, so the first item of discussion is the letter to the Ministry of Transportation.
I'd like, not a letter to the Ministry of Transportation, but I'd like that to be shared locally, not just through the agenda, but either
social
posted
media.
on, and possibly, I don't know if we have any, well, we'll have tax bills going out, so maybe we can include that in there. I know it's a letter addressed to the mayor, but it's.
Yes, he's discussing the notice of construction that's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll affect many in the community, as it's construction north and south of us, so.
I think that was posted on the website or on our Facebook.
Well, it's in our agenda.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's not been posted, I don't believe, on the, oh, just a second,
I
Yes,
think
it
sent you a
might.
note asking for this.
just a
But-
second, I can.
Okay,
It's
well,
not
we
a
can
bad
check
idea.
and, yeah,
Okay.
check.
just because not everybody sees it on the face, on
Yeah,
Facebook.
no, but not
or-
everybody,
Yeah,
I don't have Facebook.
yeah.
But, so if it's not in Facebook, we have Facebook.
I think I just put it in the agenda for discussion.
Okay.
Okay,
So maybe
Yep.
also Facebook,
Yep,
all right?
and the tax mail out, was there anything else?
And
I don't know if it would be beneficial to put it on the next month's newsletter, like library newsletter?
Library newsletter?
I don't know if we have, do we have ongoing, an ongoing slot in there? Probably not really, eh?
No.
yes,
Tax inserts will be mailed the first week of July, so I don't know if that's soon enough for you.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah, I think that's good.
okay.
Okay.
Any other comments on this item? No, okay. Next item, 31, letter from McBain. Since you pulled.
Yeah, I think, well, we made a decision on this tonight, and I think they expressed interest in it. I think they deserve to receive a letter detailing what was decided tonight, so,
All right.
yeah.
Anything else to add? No, all right. Thank you very much. So therefore, now we move on to item item 8.1. First and second reading of the bylaws. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Lachance and Councillor Loftus.
Moved by Councillor LaChance and seconded by Councillor Loftus. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives first and second reading to the following bylaws. Bylaw 2026-26 being a bylaw to provide for the adoption of the current estimates and tax rates and to further provide for penalty and interest in default of payment thereof and for the levy of other charges for 2026. Bylaw 2026-27 being a bylaw to set tax ratios for municipal purposes for the year 2026. Bylaw 2026-28 being a bylaw to establish sewage service rates for 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. Now can I have a mover and a seconder for the third and final reading of bylaw 2026-26, default of payment? Councillor Loftus, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Potier, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-26.
All those in favor? Carried. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the third and final reading of bylaw 2026-27, which is the tax ratios? Councillor Laframboise and Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Potier, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-27.
All those in favor? Carried. Can I have a mover and a seconder for third and final reading of bylaw 2026-28, sewerage service rates? Councillor Lachance and Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor LaChance and seconded by Councillor Potier, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-28.
All those in favor? Carried. All right, next, notice of motions.
So this is first reading.
The first is, the first reading from Councillor Potier.
All right, so this is where did I put it?
The formatting was a little hard on that one.
All right, so we have a motion by Councillor Pelletier, subject past, ongoing, future projects transparency, and which notice of motion to read as follows: that the corporation of the municipality of St. Charles be responsible for creating and maintaining a, quote, past, ongoing, and future projects, end quote, webpage on the municipal website. You're really testing my eyesight. And that the webpage contain all publicly available documents, reports, studies, financial summaries, grant information, and references to council and committee agendas relating to such projects. And that the webpage be updated on at least a quarterly basis to ensure information remains current and accessible to the public. And that the webpage apply to, but not be limited to, capital projects, infrastructure projects, municipal studies, planning initiatives, environmental initiatives, and other significant municipal undertakings, and that all projects that remain ongoing or that have been completed within the previous 2 years be included on the webpage, and that completed projects remain publicly accessible on the municipal website for a minimum period of 7 years following project completion, and that any information deemed confidential, restricted by legislation, solicitor-client privilege, closed session provisions, privacy legislation, procurement restrictions, or other applicable legal exemptions be excluded from public posting as determined by the municipality.
All right. Thank you very much. Next, item 9.2 is the motion by Councillor Laframboise regarding sandbag policies.
So we need a seconder.
Yeah, you are the mover. Who would be the seconder on this motion? Councillor Lachance?
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Lachance. The council directs staff to bring forward a finalized sandbag policy for council's consideration and adoption, incorporating previous council direction from June 5 and June 19, 2024, and that the policy be revised to reflect a maximum allocation of 50 sandbags per property per year based on property risk eligibility criteria, and that staff include provisions for reimbursement where applicable and report back on the financial and operational impacts of the revised allocation cycle.
All right. Any discussion, since you were the mover?
Just the reason why I brought this forward is prior we had allocation for every 5 years. It was brought to my attention after a year and a half that the sandbags, they're made out of
Polyethylene or
yeah,
polyethylene,
plastic, and I guess they stated that some of them had deteriorated. So looking into it, I did see some information that they do deteriorate after between 6 months and 2 years. So I honestly think that bringing this forward to every year would be a better option instead of every 5 years.
All right, thank you. Any comments or questions regarding the motion? Councillor Lopez?
I agree that properties, you know, if they're at risk, 50 sandbags, if we want, you know, to help them out would be great. But you gotta watch with the policy, because you don't want people just saying, oh, I want 50 bags just in case, and then they don't have to return the bags or the sand, and it's a cost to the municipality. So, I mean, I think each case should be individualized, so that the need, so I would say 50 bags based on eligibility, you know, criteria, but I think it should be at the discretion of the municipality whether people, like, you can't just come and get 50 bags for the sake of having them just in case.
No,
Like-
it's gotta be
like,
during
it
a
has to be
a
during
rainy
the
season. Yeah.
that they would require them, and I'd like to keep a total of, like, the people that are getting the sandbags and how many sandbags, you know, just for the sake of
Record.
record. Because if it's the same people over and over, I think maybe they should be doing something to upgrade their property for, you know, the potential risk.
Okay. How about you, Councillor Petit?
Yeah, no, I'm in favor of this. Honestly, initially I thought the sandbags maybe had a little bit more of a life to them, but seeing as how the expectancy is much lower than what I expected, I think it's suitable to reduce it to every year.
Yeah.
Based on the property risk eligibility, yeah, 100%.
And obviously the season, like
Yeah.
if it's dry or wet. Councillor Lachance?
Yeah, last time this was tabled, we were all, I think, under the impression that these bags lasted a bit longer than 6 months to a year. Arguably, depending how they're stored, they could last longer, but I don't think everyone's gonna have a cement slab garage where you can store 200, 300, 400 sandbags just in case. So that being said, I'm in favor with the motion.
All right. Therefore, those in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, carried. Next, motion regarding Sawmill Bay Park expenditures. It was moved by Councillor Laframboise. I know we did get a report, but the best thing is to move on. We'll see what happens. Have it, Councillor Lachance, seconded.
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Lachance, that staff be directed to prepare a comprehensive report on Sawmill Bay Park, including clarification of all expenditures, project planning, and ongoing financial obligations from the start of the project to present, and that the report provide a detailed breakdown of all funding sources, including the reported $20,000 donation and any other external contributions, and that the report be presented to council at the May 20, 2026 regular meeting of council to ensure transparency for council and the public and to support informed decision making.
All right. You presented it. Any comments?
Thanks, Pam, for bringing forward a report. I did question afterwards to receive more details, because when you did the report, you did add verbal numbers. You did give me a breakdown of the materials. I did have more question towards that. So I'll just, I'm not sure if everyone received the email that I asked, but anyways, so land use permits, you gave me an amount of 2,447, and then the one that was questioning is the environmental study. Sorry, not the environmental study, the site construction. What exactly that entail? Like, what was the entitlement of that? Like, do you have, was it the gravel? Like,
What's the dollar amount?
23,104. What exactly did you
Yeah.
quote that?
So it was the gravel, it was the turtle fencing, all that kind of
So
stuff
the
that would,
environmental study was just.
it was just the
Was that-
study that we got done to make sure that all,
wasn't the turtle or anything like that?
No.
Okay. So, also the site construction, for the, lost the thought.
I can summarize.
The
it.
Sawmill Bay, sign, so that was expensive too. Is that part of that amount?
no, so in that email, you'll see there was a different line item for signs. So the sign was the actual sign that's,
So the only thing I have is land use permits, environmental study, site construction, blasting, okay, signage, sorry, washroom, picnic table, and trash can.
yeah, so the signage includes the sign that's on the road, and then there's signs within the park also,
Okay.
no parking,
That's all.
that's all in the signage section.
So, I know the gravel, there was some prior, because it was a, more or less, when we first started, it was more of a trail, not public,
Walking trail?
nature, yeah, nature trail, so is that part of it also? Sorry for asking you all these questions.
No, I could give us a few.
Yes, go ahead.
A bit of summary, so and I'll go back and date it a bit. In 2011, the strategic plan did identify the desire of the participants to have the facilities near water. The previous council, I brought forward an opportunity to get $32,000 towards the original, because they fund only walking trails. It was not intended, it was for picnic and walking trails. So that first part of the money paid for the gravel for about, I don't know if it's a kilometer, but it's very close to a kilometer. So just, and it was hauled in by the Shaw Pit, which is closed by our trucks. So they excavated the area by they laid the gravel, extended the road length.
And
They
the
originally.
parking lot too is still there?
Well, I get to the point, so, the timing wise, so, we were just at the parking lot, when council looked at the progress and it would be a great addition, so this council discussed the desire to have a boat launch. So because of the extensive work, because we're going close to water, M&R said, no, we need a bit more extensive, which is fair. It's fair. You're going near water, we understand the need. So the original environmental, which was done by a volunteer, was not sufficient. They wanted a bit more extensive. And I know you'll know there was an approved price and then the price was lower. It's because after the original price, I did locate a local provider, which is professional, works out of Sudbury, but is also a resident, and I got a better price. So that unfortunately delayed the construction of the work. And then along came the donation from the
National
Plow match?
yeah, the plowing master. And then with the decision of council to have a launch, so, and I know it says blasting, but I don't know if they use blasting, they use the
Jackhammer.
Jackhammer.
That was for the elevation, right?
Yeah, so right before you go to the water, if it would have been a walking trail, we would have lifted a little path by gravel to the thing. To go with a car and a trailer over that little spot, it's like we're doing a little teepee, and usually cars and trailers don't like this formation. So they had to lower that part, and that was so I know that jackhammer, but potentially we can get more information for the director of operation, the percentage of jackhammering. There's also gravel in that portion. And they also extended the gravel to the lake, so that was part 2. So yeah, it's 2 phases. The first phase did pay for the tables, picnic tables, and as the park was not ready, we put them at the splash pad last year. But those are going to be brought out as soon as we can start moving around and just placing everything, because right now the idea is just to get up and running and see the desire or the volume of use. What in discussion with the director of operation, we do have some, prior to the speed sign, we do have car counters. And so we're going to install that at the entrance to count how many cars go in, because it's no need to expand if there's little use, or if there's excessive use, we will have to adjust the budget and maybe the parking lot size, we don't know. Also the original thought is that we were just going for a land use permit. We could have went for a full out purchase. The idea was to see if this is successful, because the idea is not to spend oodles of money no one goes. So there was some forethought in terms of, we didn't go for the land purchase right away. If it works out, it's successful, I would suggest to council in the future to do a land purchase.
No.
Because once you do a land purchase, we're no longer paying, we pay a lump sum for the property, and we no longer pay a land use permit fee. So it might be a bit more money up front, but then it's perpetually municipal taxes as municipal taxes. But that is future.
Yeah.
So, but the idea of measuring, came about, because we were informed by M&R, usually if they become popular, we would have to do multiple garbage inspections. So not once a week, maybe twice a week. It's an evolving thing, as we don't know the use, but the good thing is if more people use it, it is the community benefit from it. If less people, then we won't have to do multiple garbage runs. So that part is yet to be found out, but with the car counters, we'll have a number of people going in. So, and they're remote, they're battery operated, and then you go in and you download the information from the computer. Hopefully we'll have, by the end of the season, any data. So unfortunately, the two phases and the extended time makes it seem that it's a long, drawn-out process, but fortunately, it was basically the stopping of the environmental that did not make it happen last year.
Thank you.
You're good. Any questions for yourself, Councillor
No, not
Loftus?
for myself.
Councillor Putzi?
No, no question, just a comment about the tracking of the traffic, because that'll definitely be a benefit. I mean, I was making use of it this weekend, so, and I seen somebody else also launching as I was going to leave, so it's definitely getting some use, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think it's essential, like, we're a community so close to many lakes,
Yeah,
but so few people have access to the lakes. Like, if you're not living on a lake shore, you
Yeah.
have no access. Councillor Deschamps, any comments, questions?
Yeah, no, just, I actually took I arrived there with the side by side, no time for that this year, I don't think, but it was nice. I did see two vehicles parked there. I assumed they were hiking in the trails because there was no trailers or kayak mounts or nothing, but it's nice to see that both aspects of it are getting used.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you. So this motion is essentially asking for information. So I think lots of the information has been shared. So,
Just the only thing is maybe have more transparency on, I know Pam shared it with me, but maybe put it out there, the extra information that you shared with myself. I'm not sure if I can request that or not.
okay, well, how about if we, that'll make part of the motion if we go through it, I guess. But it's I think you send it to council. Yeah, council did see it, but make it publicly available in the next.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So therefore, all those in favor? We.
amend, should we amend?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Amend the motion?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say maybe that, like when that other motion passed by Councilor Putzi for the webpage, this would also be included in there. Maybe you can give a breakdown of because it was all funded through grants and donations, that we could just have that breakdown in there. Does that make sense, or?
Yeah, but that's next motion. But we'll deal with this motion first. But I agree. If we do decide to go along those lines, it would be a good idea. But that we're talking about that motion next meeting.
Do we have to
We have to
motion
amend for the date.
amend, yeah, amend,
So anybody want to make? Councilor Putzi?
yeah.
Okay. What's the next date that should go? there?
June 3rd or 17th meeting?
Do you want to do the third?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is that, I mean, I guess all the information is mostly there already.
Yeah. Okay, we have to have a seconder for that, huh? Okay, seconder for the amendment. Councilor Deschamps. So, all those in favor of the amendment first?
I should read it first.
I'll read it first.
Okay, so that the motion be amended to read the report be presented to council at the June 3, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting. So moved by Councillor Putze, seconded by Councillor Lachance.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, carried. Now, you good there? All those in favor of the motion with the amendment now? Okay, carried. Had you read the thing? Yeah, we had. All right,
But not amended.
not the amendment, okay. Okay, next item, motion by Councilor Laframboise, speed control signs. You made the motion. Do I have a seconder? Councilor Putzi?
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Putze, that staff be directed to prepare a report on the Highway 535 speed monitoring equipment, including its status, all data collected since 2023, bracket vehicle speeds, traffic volumes, and time of day patterns, close bracket, and noting it was purchased with taxpayer funds to address speeding concerns and support transparency. And that the report include how often the data has been reviewed and shared with the Ontario Provincial Police, as well as information from the summer of 2025 relocation of the units. And that the report be presented to council at the May 20, 2026 regular council meeting.
Okay, any discussion?
So just to bring it back, I did question this in an email on November 18, 2025. The Director of Operation did state that if I wanted information to direct staff to prepare a report highlighting that they would be shared, or residents can request the information through the FOI process, I guess. So that's why I'm here today, to bring this forward and get the information, because we did bring this forward, or we did purchase these in 2023 and never really received a report.
Okay.
How everything was, we did ask to, I think back then, to bring it forward to provincial police or have reports sent to them, and I don't recall anything that was brought forward.
Okay. I know we've got answers, but how about if we just, do we want to answer? Yeah, we'll just move ahead with the motion and we'll let it fall next time. How about yourself? Councillor Loftus, comment, question?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, Councillor Putzi?
I like the idea of a report being created for the monitoring equipment. I think it likely could be included in the Public
The
Works,
quarterly.
the quarterly report. So I don't know if we, yeah, this is asking for a singular report. I don't know if we would amend
Quarterly.
to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be my only recommendation. This was,
So do you want to make an amendment?
yes, motion
Okay.
to amend to, instead of preparing a report on the Highway 535 speed monitoring equipment, that it be,
Instead of May 20th?
oh yeah, I guess we could just change that, yeah, that the report be included in future quarterly reports, or in future quarterly reporting.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for this amendment?
Sorry, future, so I want past reports also.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, summary report should be presented at the next meeting
Prior,
of
yeah.
past history. Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so restate your
Yes.
amendment then?
That a report be presented to council at the
What was the date?
June 3rd
June 3rd?
committee of the whole meeting, and that future reports be included in the
Quarterly.
quarterly reports. Public Works? Quarterly,
Yes.
is it Public Works?
Yeah.
Yeah. Transportation, I think. Public Works and Transportation? Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a seconder for that amendment? Okay, Councilor Laframboise. Councilor Lachance, any comments?
Just a question. I know back when we purchased this, we said that the information was readily available. I think back then, the information was going to the CAO. Since then, has it been transferred down to the Director of Operations, or is it still go to you, or is it, do we have to go and get the memory key out of the units? I can't remember. It's been a while since we purchased these. And I do know that the Director of Operations wasn't a position with the municipality back when we purchased them, though.
Yeah, and I think that's where,
I think it was
The-
assistant of Department of Heads, right? That's who.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be in the report for, or the next month, but it is a change of positions that cause some.
Well, what I was gonna ask is if it was something electronically that, your worship, you sit on the LSR committee, like for the policing and such. Would that be, something that we could just share the data with them also in this, so that,
Yeah.
and then we say that we bring it to them every time, like we've had brought data to them in the past, but if you just gave them the, I don't know, if it sent an email saying, oh, on every occurrence, oh, someone's speeding, maybe they'll take more of an urgency to, come out and rectify the issue instead of just saying, okay, we see your data. Maybe if it's poking them in the butt every time someone does it, maybe they'll care about coming out and taking care of the issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with transferring it electronically and periodically. I would just like to ask them where they think, well, now we're straying from the original motion, but I'm just gonna finish my sentence. Ask them where they think it would be the best for trying to determine speeders. Is it right at a transfer point between a high speed and a low speed? In my mind, that's just helping people, oh yeah, we're going into a slow, so people are slowing down. So most people are gonna be maybe just above and just below by the time they pass it, as a rule. Or should it be deeper? I think that's a question also that I'm gonna be asking them next time I go to the board. So, just to determine where's the best spot. Because right now also it's being used as a counter for vehicle traffic. So it depends where it is, for what reason.
Well, even if you could just bring the raw data with you at your, I believe it's quarterly meetings you have with them, 4 times a year.
Yeah.
If you were able to bring that raw data to the quarterly meetings and say, hey, in the last 3 months, we've had this many people going at least 20 kilometers an hour over most of the speed limit or whatever, just something.
Yeah, okay. So, did you read the amendment?
No,
Okay, read the amendment.
I was waiting for my opportunity. So moved by Councillor Pelletier and seconded by Councillor Laframboise, that the motion be amended to read that a summary of history report be presented at the June 3, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting, and that the future reports be included in future transportation quarterly reports.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Now, for the main motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we're at the addendum. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the addendum? Councillor Loftus? Councillor Deschamps? Okay.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Lachance, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby approves the addendum to the May 20, 2026 regular meeting of Council.
All those in favor? Carried. Oh, excuse me. The first item is 10.2, which is a bylaw so I would like to have somebody for the first and a second reading of the bylaws. Councillor Loftus, Councillor Laframboise.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Laframboise. Be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives first and second reading to the following bylaws. Bylaw 2026-30, being a bylaw to enter into a child care services and facility agreement with Our Children, Our Future Family Resources / Nos Enfants, Notre Avenir Ressources pour Famille. Next, bylaw 2026-31, being a bylaw to enter into a project management services agreement with GCH Group Consulting and Construction.
All those in favor? Carried. Now I need a mover and a seconder of a third and final reading of bylaw 2026-30, which is to go into an agreement with Child Care Services, OCA. Councillor Loftus and Councillor Lachance.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Lachance, be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-30.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Next, mover and a seconder of third and final reading of bylaw 2026-31, which is to enter into a project management service agreement with GCH. Councillor Loftus, Councillor Laframboise.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Laframboise, be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-31.
All those in favor? 1, 2,
Was,
okay, carried?
was there not a point of discussion for these?
You want to have a discussion on this item here? Okay,
Well, it's been brought up that, like, and about the location of this, and it hasn't been, there's nothing in here regarding location?
no, this is to secure.
The agreement.
The agreement,
Yes.
and once the agreement is secured, after that, if we're looking at alternate sites, I think that's a discussion that, how much time between the signing and any activity?
So what's going on? So again, so for people that are just in the crowd, I'll just bring everyone because for the discussion, late last summer, council presented a report to OCOF for, there was a $1.5 million grant going for available daycare. It was, unfortunately, it was not approved last fall. It was just approved, not approved yet even. It just is just a formality to hopefully get the last for approval. As I understand, it is going this Friday. That's why the urgency of this is for this Friday for securing funding. I talked with Mr. Hillier. He is going to be out here in the next 2 weeks. I was probably going to suggest to do a site meeting and maybe look and kick at all the tires because I know it is, because I'll just go for the 3 sites, just a summary. I told him the preferred site was Notre Dame. I told him he was aware of issues at the school, which is a block over. So his concern of that location was specifically if there's any doubt on water, you will not, like Friday, they have to be open and honest with the government when applying. They have to say there's doubt. The original intent was to actually put in a well to verify water. Unfortunately, that boat really got condensed in 2 weeks, and for us to spend and put a well in and to confirm for this Friday, again, it's one of those things, it potentially could have been if we would have just put $40,000 on the table, whether it's 20 or 30 for the well, and risk it. That was the problem. You can't get to secure the funding. If you secure the funding, that was a problem. There's this particular lot back of the wellness center was deemed too small for the future expansion. The other municipal location was shown. I said, this is the property. I told him where the sewers were. He actually drove around the arena, looked at the entire site, and I told them more the sewer junction boxes, catch basins. So I told him the back of, the rear of the arena, would have to connect. We can't build near the helipad, and it's not a desirable space anyways. And they would have to connect to the rear of the arena. Elevation was not known. There was comments made about the ditch and preference in not being near a ditch. Nobody, because it's if it does go forward, you would have a big old ditch behind the daycare anyways. And it was showing the other spots, and I told them it was not the preferred location, just to be fair, and it was shared. I told them more the junction boxes was, and it's like rear of the property. It says this is what all daycare want is. So that location was shared, and then he came back probably just to. I can do the dates, but it was a very short amount of time before the meeting, and it was not fair for anyone because you're asked to make humongous decisions in very amount of time with not all the information. But again, it's moving such a rate that Friday we're going to get either a yay or a nay for this daycare. That being said, once we get approval, we're paying him now, so we can ask Mr. Hillier for an on-site and maybe to go through in the logistics of this because we still have a period of time. A suitable site is a suitable site is a suitable site. That being said, he is looking for putting in the groundwork. Oh. Anyways, the building will be up the first week of September. I don't know if you work it back, so 12 weeks before that. So it's going to move very, very fast. So there's a bit of shorter window. And I have some options that I don't want to share because I want to see if there's potential for site restoration. So what can happen with the site restoration? But I have to talk to him, and maybe it can work to our advantage in the future. And I know the desirable spot, both Olkoff and Mr. Hillier, having built, prefer, which we all prefer, is the wide open space, green grass and play area. So moving forward, there's an opportunity, but it is very much either you want it or you don't. Yeah, and we'll try the best to maybe mitigate the circumstances, whether we can do all the checks and balances, say fully available, does this work? So there's a small window, but it really, really is tight.
Yeah. So, and that's going to be looked at to try and determine whether or not it's feasible. And I think Mr. Hillier being the person of knowledge on this, we have to sort of give him credence to his opinion. So if he believes that one is much better than the other for some reason, I think it's with this expansion, it could be we'd start with 15, add another 40 maybe. 15 plus 10, 35.
15. Yeah, right now it's just one group
it's
of
one
kids,
group of 15,
and then they would,
And another
and then it would move with the infant to the
15.
to 30 kids. I think
Man, I thought it was
40 something.
10, 15, and 5, but anyhow.
Yes, there's more because you can have.
There was the infant, and then the toddler, and then
So
anyhow.
So unfortunately, that's the unfortunate situation. Is nobody's liking this being rushed, making decisions, and it's even tough on me of how do I, because I'm looking at him and says I can show you this, but council hasn't even discussed this location. That's how I started the conversation. I was honest with him. Is I don't know. This was planned to be something else, and unfortunately is. Again, it is one of those. Friday's the decision for money. We may have a window. I don't want to give anyone hopes. He may
that's
say, "That's it. If you change your mind, we can't have it." And it's again, I'm all on board. I remember I drew up those little maps, and I was trying to
Yeah.
I had little cuttings and I was moving on the board, but anyways, unfortunately, it's something that we have to work with. And like I say, he was talking with them and there may be some opportunity for site restoration, so maybe we can make something happen.
Okay. But for tonight, it's, if we don't do this, it's off the table,
Yeah.
essentially. So right now, these are the next steps that we have to go through. And, but there is that small window of maneuverable time that we can we'll have some time to look at it, but more study
It's
is,
small.
is being done.
It's a small window.
Yeah, because we just got something today from Denis there. Okay. So therefore, on this next one, did we vote on it yet? No.
Yeah, we did. I asked
No,
for.
no, I think we just moved and seconded, or did we vote
From
on it?
Mr.
No,
Elliott.
you actually said carried.
Carried? Okay, there we go, good. Alright, so next item, adjourn the addendum. Mover and a seconder, Councillor Loftus, Councillor Lachance.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Lachance, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby adjourns the addendum and returns to the May 20, 2026 regular meeting of council.
All those in favor? Carried. Mover and a seconder, first and second reading of the confirmation bylaw. Councillor Framboise, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Potier, be it resolved the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives first and second reading to the following bylaw. Bylaw 2026-29 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its special meeting of council held April 22nd, 2026, at its committee of the whole meeting held May 6th, 2026, at its special meeting of council held May 14th, 2026, and at its regular meeting of council held May 20th, 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the third and final reading of the confirmation bylaw? Councillor Loftus, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Potier, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2026-29.
All those in favor? Carried. And the last but not least, resolution to adjourn. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Lachance and Councillor Framboise.
Moved by Councillor Lachance and seconded by Councillor Laframboise, be it resolved that the regular meeting of council held May 20, 2026 be adjourned at 8:08 PM.
All those in favor? Carried. Meeting is adjourned.